Well, you could tell when there's hype behind a fight. You know how I could tell?
How's
Because
that?
our boy, none other than our producer, Rich the Casual,
Yeah.
who doesn't watch fights, was texting us about the fights
Yeah.
leading into.
Crazy. And then the main card started, and he responded as soon as the first fight ended, and it was like, whoa, Rich is not just interested; he's actively watching.
When
You know?
Rich's gives a shit meter is high
Yeah,
for a card, you know there's hype behind that card.
exactly. So we had Alex Pereira versus Magomed, Ankalaev, and you talk about it being super high. Everybody's talking about this fight. It's a big. Hey, shout out Genevieve. It's a
What up,
big.
Evie?
It's a big event. Anytime Alex fights, he's headlining. It's pay
Dude, he's
per
a
view.
fucking
It's
superstar
gonna
now.
do. It's gonna do numbers. And what a perfect time for ESPN to have a bunch of issues with buying the pay per view. So
Oh,
bad that
really?
today, when I was going through pictures to make the slideshow, I was like, well, I need a couple screenshots. ESPN's just giving it out for free because they had such a hard time selling it last night.
No.
There's literally just, you just go to ESPN Plus. If you have an ESPN Plus account, they're just giving it for free if you want to go back and rewatch because they had that many issues. And that's the only place you can buy it in America. So, Uncle Dana's probably pissed about that. A big
Yeesh.
event and you can't even buy the pay per view. That's
That
crazy.
is rough. Well, hey, you know what? Outside of a few fights, didn't miss out on much for anybody that missed it. I'm
Well, the
glad you're
pay per
getting it for
view, the
free.
pay per view was good. I
That
thought
is
the pay
true.
per view was
Actually,
very
that's true.
good.
The main card was good.
Yeah,
The main card was good. Yeah. So hey, Ankalaev versus Alex Pereira. Oh my goodness! Again, the hype behind this man. He's been on a tear for the last couple of years. I want to say that he has, is it 4 straight title defenses?
something like that. Yeah, I think so.
But
Whoa,
either
that's
way,
crazy.
hey, a star, an absolute bona fide, not just a star in the UFC. He's like transcending, right? Like they
Yeah,
want this guy everywhere. You see him in Japan, you see him in Korea. He's dancing around. People love this guy.
Australia. He's at Drake concerts. He wasn't the
What?
gym. Oh
Oh no!
no, I'm just kidding. A lot of
I was
people were
gonna
like,
say.
man, Poetan's not taking this one seriously. He's not in the gym. He's out in Australia. He's at Drake concerts. He's doing this and that. It's like, just because you saw a 10, 15-second clip doesn't mean that he's not spending the rest of the day at the gym. You know what I mean?
Also, they got gyms in Australia.
Yeah, they
They
got
have
gyms at Drake
gyms
concerts.
at Drake concerts, dude. Everybody knows that. He walks out the tunnel, goes straight to the gym at the concert.
Yeah, exactly.
Man,
But a lot of interesting stuff going into this matchup. When someone's got a ton of star power when you just see like tons of crazy takes in the lead up of a fight, and you're like, oh, this fighter kind of transcended a little bit because we got a bunch of people saying some crazy shit because they're Alex fans, they're not necessarily mixed martial arts fans, and so you
Stephen A.
get this.
Smith talking about the fight.
Was he?
No, more than likely.
It's
I
like,
mean,
I
it
would
was
have hit
first
him with
round.
this uppercut. That
The
video.
shovel hook.
Yeah.
The shovel hook.
Instead, Poetan said, I'm not even going to try the shovel hook. I'm just going to leg kick for the whole fight.
It's dude, especially that first round. I think he landed 14, 15. But leading up to walkout still gives me goosebumps for Alex Pereira. Every single time he walks out, he does a little stomp. He does the arrow. Absolutely love it. Stare down, not as good as the previous fights. That's when I was concerned.
You know why? I think in
And
hindsight,
Ankalaev didn't sit there.
he was moving the whole time and
Yes.
Poetan was just staring at him, right? And then in hindsight, it kind of sucks because that's also what his strategy in the fight was,
Mm.
to just stare at
Hey,
him and not
shout
do
out.
anything.
The champ is here. Ganscow. Shout out
No,
Ganscow.
yeah,
By the
shut
way,
up,
nice
guys.
picture with the belt. Congratulations, man.
Yeah, it's very cool.
So the entire first round, it's just the calf kick over and over and over
Yeah.
again from Pereira, right?
Yeah.
And then Ankalaev kind of trying to stick and move a little bit. And he clinches at the end of the first round. And I thought, okay, maybe this is the plan. Maybe he's just going
There's
to
the
try to
wrinkle.
stick and move. And then at the end of the round, kind of try to steal the round away with either a takedown, clinching up against the fence, landing some dirty shots. What do you think of that first round?
Yeah, first round I thought was a clear Alex round, only
too.
because of the calf kicks. There wasn't really much going from Ankalaev. And there is controversy on the decision of this fight. A lot of people are split on this one. But first round I thought clear Alex round.
Me too. Okay,
Second
let's do
round.
that. Let's talk about the rounds, and then at the end, who you gave the round to.
Okay, and then Rich, maybe we keep the pictures moving slow on this one as we move through because there's a couple things
Rich is like,
in the
screw your
slideshow.
pictures, took the pictures off right away.
He's slow. How about no? there's a couple pictures in there about stats and stuff that I want to talk about, like
Oof.
numbers wise. But
Oof.
so yeah, second round, uh, Ankalaev foot on the gas, heavy pressure from Ankalaev, um, and really good just understanding of the game and not biting on Alex's feints. Alex has a lot of
So many
feints,
feints.
but they're all they're not the same. There's so many, but he uses them in a lot of his fights, and he gets reactions out of people, and that's when he kills you. When you
Yes.
react off his feints, he kills you. Uncle Live was like, doesn't bother me. Most of these are going to be feints. That's fine.
It's
You
funny you
know.
mentioned the feints. My boy Armando, shout out Armando, was texting me,
Mhm.
and we are talking about that. He's like, "Man, what do you think?" And I said,
His post fight
we'll
or
talk
like
about
during.
how post fight. We'll talk about how I
Mhm.
scored the fight. But one of the things I said is feints can be good if you follow it up with something.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was feint after feint after feint, and to your point, props to Ankalaev because he didn't bite on anything, which caused Poatan to
Yeah.
kind of just sit back off of his feint. So he'd come in with the
Mhm.
knee, put the knee back down. He'd kind
Yeah.
of fake the left hook that everybody's terrified of, and brings
Mhm.
the left hook back. Calf kick, feint.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, come on, dude. Like, let's get going. It was, oh,
Yeah, and in that second round, uh, one of the things that really stood out to me is Ankalaev's hand fighting. Because
mm,
when you're when you're open stance matchup, the left hook for when Alex is fighting a southpaw, he doesn't have a big wind up outside leg kick, right? It's going to go shin to shin if he throws his rear leg as a leg kick. Um, he has to do a step up or a switch low kick off of his lead leg to hit the outside calf, which he was doing the whole fight, right? Like that does work, but it's not the same as like a big power rear leg low kick, right? Also, his left hook isn't as dangerous against a southpaw because the southpaw can then kind of just tuck his shoulder, tuck behind the shoulder, and that left hook can glance. So the left hook doesn't have a clean lane
mm,
against a southpaw. So what Poatan does a lot is he does that hand fighting game with his lead hand, his big left hook hand, and he'll get southpaws to be under his hand. He'll paw them down and then throw a left hook, right? Because it clears that lane with the hand
yes.
fighting. And you see it with Jamal Hill. You see it with Yuji Prohaska. He does that a lot. But Ankalaev, anytime Poatan would start setting up that hand fighting and that lull and that snake charm, Ankalaev would do something to disrupt it. Either he'd back out and say "fuck this," or he'd hand fight and switch stances on his own, or he'd start dipping, feinting takedowns, and just completely wax on, wax off the hand fighting and not even play that game with them. And you could see Alex is like, "What's this? Why aren't you letting me dominate the hand fighting?" And I thought that was very good from Ankalaev.
Can we also talk about the level change feints as well from
Well,
Ankalaev in this round, which was getting a
that's what I
massive
mean.
reaction from
Because
Poatan?
he would start that hand feint, and then
And
Ankalaev's
he,
like, "No, no, no." Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Very good. And then he starts putting some hands together, and he cracks
rocked him.
Poatan. Basically, you could argue Saved by the Bell type round, which we've seen a lot from Poatan. He gets clipped at the end of rounds pretty frequently. Izzy in multiple fights had him like almost out of there as the bell was ringing,
What a
and
picture.
now
That's a great
Ankalaev.
picture
Yeah, so second round, big second round. Big second round. If this
for
wasn't
Ankalaev.
10-point must, yeah, yeah. If this wasn't a 10-point must system, you would probably say that round was way more significant than round one. They count the same because you're not going to give them a 10-8 round for that, but
So you have
that
first
was
round Poatan, second round
mhm,
Ankalaev.
without a doubt.
Me
Yeah,
too. Me
with
too. Okay,
much more damage happening in that second round.
so far, your judging, my judging is pretty spot on and even.
Mhm.
All right, round three. We have it
Round
1-1 so far, 19-19. Teep kicks showing up well for Ankalaev,
very
right?
good teep kicks because you don't have to worry. Teep kicks don't you don't see teeps as often in MMA because of the threat of the takedown. Poetan's not taking you down. Teep
Not
away.
taking you down.
Teep
Not
away.
taking you
Very
down.
good. Yeah.
Pereira still reacting big from any move from Ankalaev, but Pereira starts letting his hands go a little bit more. But
In the
he's
middle of the
missing
round.
more than what we're accustomed to against Ankalaev.
Yes.
His movement was really good. His angles that he was creating was really good. Ankalaev, that is.
Mhm.
Ankalaev clinches Poatan. Poatan showing off his takedown defense.
Very good takedown defense.
Right? Were
Very
you
good takedown
surprised?
defense. Not necessarily. Maybe a little bit as the fight continued. But off the bat, no, because Ankalaev's not like a big takedown artist. Like he doesn't shoot big driving takedowns. He never really has. He's always been more of a striker. I did think he would have more success wrestling Poatan, but I didn't expect him to go out there and just like floor him every single round. I did expect him to get at least one takedown, but
Yeah,
uh, but you know,
impressive takedown defense though.
so it was very impressive. Not necessarily surprising for me, but definitely impressive. Um, but the problem is the urgency to break away as the fight continued kind of disappeared from Poatan. Where
Mm.
early on he'd stuff that takedown, scoot his hips out, angle up, pummel, angle off, and separate. Fight the hands, separate, and then they're back. And as the fight kind of continued, that disappeared a little bit.
I
And
wonder
he
if it's
was,
because he got rocked.
I mean, he got rocked at the end of
Because
that
look,
second
the
round.
thing is, he got hit so hard. So I'm concerned. I'm like, how much did he recover? This is the round
Mhm.
also where you see Pereira stagger a little bit off of a hard jab from Ankalaev
Towards the end of the round.
towards
Yeah.
the end of the round.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh no. And then another stat that was pretty impressive leading up to the end of the round, Will.
Mhm.
41% advancement for Ankalaev compared to 14% for Pereira. Pereira on his back
Yeah.
foot majority of the fight so
So
far through the third.
so this round, in my opinion, is the deciding round. The round three was very close.
Who'd you give it to?
Because I thought Ankalaev started off well. I
Same
thought
here.
Poatan controlled the action, or at least landed some good shots towards the middle of that round. But then Ankalaev came on strong at the end of the round, especially with that jab. This was a very close
Mhm.
round, but that jab stumbled Poatan a little bit up against the fence at the end. So you're like, okay, it's very close striking. I would personally give the edge to Ankalaev in that round with the striking.
Same.
But even if you say Poatan is a little bit ahead of him, I would say it was close enough either way that you do have to now factor in octagon control and aggression, because the rules literally say if there's no clear winner in the striking or the grappling, then we start to factor in octagon control and aggression, things like that, which I would say heavily favored to Ankalaev. To your point,
Yes.
41% advancement, whatever the number was, but it was clear Potan was getting cornered and having to circle for most of that round.
Mhm.
So regardless, I think the striking was close enough that you can make either case, and that is when you have to start looking at outside factors or other things like octagon control. So I go Ankalaev round three.
Me too. Me too. Okay. So
Yeah.
round four, both of us have Ankalaev 2-1, 29-28 so far.
Hmm.
Right back to the pressure for Ankalaev. Ankalaev clinches Poatan. Poatan again, good takedown defense, but a lot of control time for Ankalaev with Pereira up against the fence this entire round.
Yeah. Minutes of control time. And I see people thinking this was boring. I thought the clinch work, look at Rich on the pictures. Look, this shot right here shows you it's not just boring clinch work, because look at Mark Zuckerberg's face. Look at him front row. He's ecstatic, man.
Look at Bert Kreischer.
Bert Kreischer not knowing what he's watching.
Yeah, and
Why
right
was
next
he
to
there?
Theo Vaughn to his
Uh,
left.
yeah, but look, the knees to the legs and the knees to the body from Ankalaev in the clinch in this round, very good work. It's not like he was just holding him up against the fence. He was landing very well. I thought his clinch work in this round was very, very good. It wasn't like threatening with takedowns necessarily, his clinch work, but I thought he controlled him for the whole round, and it's not like there was no damage or impact because he was kneeing him to the belly all the time, kneeing him to the legs. Anybody who says, "Yeah, but those knees to the legs don't mean shit," go ahead and take them. Clinch knees to your knees, the inside part of your knee or something like that, your back of your thigh. That shit sucks. It
Painful.
sucks.
Painful for
It's not
sure.
nothing, you know.
Yeah.
Um, I would say even it had as much of an effect on Potan's legs as the leg kicks did to Ankalaev,
Mm.
because yeah, Rogan and DC were talking about the leg kicks so much because they were scoring and it left a good welt. Did it ever affect his performance? I don't think so.
It didn't
We
look
never
like
got
it.
big. We never got big reactions out
By
of
the
him.
way, shout out Blunderbug. Coleman was a banger, but didn't really enjoy most of the pay-per-view portion. He said the
Yeah,
strawweight fight was And then
yeah. We're
poor
not going to cover
Omar
that fight.
Shama. Oh, now Shama. Now
No
Shama.
shot. Yeah,
Oh, ho.
but yeah. So, yeah, big fourth round. I thought this was another clear round for Ankalaev. Round two or three was close, but two and four were very, very obviously Ankalaev's
Will, did
rounds.
we talk to each other before on our scoring, before hopping on the podcast?
No, no.
You and I both had it 3-1 on Kalaev heading into the fifth round, scoring it 39-37 on Kalaev up until the fifth. So I gave Ankalaev the second, the third, and the fourth. Now let's
Mhm.
talk about the fifth.
Yeah.
Poatan pressing a lot more in the fifth. Poatan starts letting go of his jab. Ankalaev,
Yeah.
when Ankalaev was coming in, instead of fainting, he was jabbing his face
Actually
off
throwing.
now. And I was like,
Yeah.
holy smokes, if we would have done this a few rounds earlier. Um,
Who are you rooting
Ankalaev,
for?
though, I'm not biased in this one.
Yeah. I was rooting for Alex. I actually was rooting for Alex.
So was
I
I,
picked
man.
Ankalaev, but I was rooting for Alex.
Ankalaev clinches again. Pereira, great balance, stuffing 11 takedowns
Yeah.
for
Good
that
stat.
night.
Very good stat.
I gave that round to Pereira.
I gave it to Alex. It was a decently close round just because there wasn't a ton of activity. But he did land the better shots, I thought. Ankalaev largely took most of that round off, I thought. Like the first, maybe a little bit more than the first half of that round. He didn't really do much. Um, Poatan just still, for some reason, it's like he was very dependent on making Ankalaev react a certain way that opens up what he wants to land instead of just saying, okay, look, it's the fifth round. I'm not getting the reactions I want out of him. I need to start doing something. And you could see he wanted to because he's like pressuring, but then he wouldn't actually go. And it's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
So
But yeah,
both
I
you
gave
and
him that
I
round.
had
Yeah.
it scored 48-47
Ankalaev.
for
Yeah.
Ankalaev. Yeah, we had
Yes.
the exact same scoring. We didn't even talk about it leading up to the podcast.
I was kind of
Um,
hoping you disagreed with the decision so we could kind of like butt heads a little bit and argue that third round,
no,
but we
no,
saw it exactly the
dude,
same.
we saw exactly the same thing. And
Yeah.
Nevada State Athletic Commission, we'll be waiting for your call. We'll be waiting for
Yeah.
your call. We're down to judge. Just let us know when. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So one thing I wanted to talk about, I don't know if it's the next picture, Rich, if you can go to the picture of the stats for me really quick. A lot of people thought Poatan won this fight, and I think some of it is probably just bias, right? They want Poatan to win, so you see when you're
yes,
watching a fighter, you want to win. You see things differently a little bit. But another thing is commentary, right, will sway your opinion a little bit. If you're doing something else while you're watching and you hear them talking about something, the leg kicks, they're staggering them. Rogan was talking about Ankalaev already limping and being compromised literally a minute into the first round. So if you're just listening and you're half watching things like that, you might think, oh, yeah, Poatan's dictating this with the leg kicks, things like that. Not necessarily the case, in my opinion. So commentary, so your bias as a fan of a fighter can cloud it a little bit. Commentary bias can cloud it a little bit. But then there's the numbers that the UFC actually shows you during the fight. They'll show you the live stats, right? And they're always going to say, these aren't official numbers, right? They're just the live numbers. I want people to realize how wildly inaccurate these numbers are when they show them during the fight. Because when it's a close round and then they show the stats at the end of the round, you're like, oh, I guess they won. Don't literally disregard the numbers they show you. So this is head, body, leg strikes. At towards the end of round 4, they show Alex Pereira landing 30 head strikes through the first 4 rounds. When they actually went back on the right hand side of the screen, here is the actual UFC stats when they go back after the fact and have someone watching each round and diligently tally up the numbers and put them on the website. Poatan landed 11 significant strikes to the head across the entire fight. 11.
wow,
This stat during the fight shows him at 30 before round 5 even started. That's crazy.
wow, that is.
Hey, shout
It'd be
out
different if it was
Coleslaw.
like a plus minus 1 or 2. You know what I mean? This is a big
Exactly.
difference.
It's a huge difference. It's a huge difference. Saying that he's landed 30 strikes to the head when up until this point, the reality is he had 2 in round 1, 5 in round 2, 2 in round 3, and 6 in round 7. So we're looking at 9. At this point, he was at 9, and they're showing him at 30. So if you're
Wow,
watching the fights and they show the stats during the fight, literally just disregard them. Pretend they didn't even show them because they're going to be completely wrong. And I feel like that should be said.
terrible, terrible.
Yeah.
Blunderbuck, thank you for the correction there. For context, then he shares that emoji. It's not meh, it's yikes.
Yeah. That was a yikes fight. Yeah. And
Okay,
shout out Coleslaw. I didn't get to watch this one live because my boy
coleslaw.
had a baby shower. Gonna be a dad. Shout out
What?
Coleslaw. Yes.
Congratulations, baby coleslaw coming through.
Baby Coleslaw coming through.
Heck yeah. Do we have a story of the fight onesies? Is
No,
that something we
no,
could
we
do?
should we
Is
should
that
do
something we
that.
could do? We should totally do that.
Yeah.
Congratulations, though, Coleslaw. That's awesome, man. Sounds
Yeah.
like you had a better night than Poetan.
Oh,
No
yeah.
way, no. No Shama.
No Shama. But
All right.
ultimately, not the fight that people were expecting, probably. I thought it was an interesting fight. I rewatched it just to do scorecards on, especially on that third round. Um, but probably not one that I'll go back to. Maybe right before they do a rematch, I'll rewatch it just to see little details and things like that. But not a very exciting fight. Not a good cap to the main card that I thought largely was exciting for the most part. But it was an interesting fight watching live.
I'm interested for the rematch.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm a
interested
little
for the
interested.
rematch. I think this will be a
Yeah,
good one.
I think so too. I think the takedown defense will cause Ankalaev to rethink a little bit, and the lack of offense will also make Alex rethink some things. And I think
Yes,
both of those will mix for a better fight in the rematch than we
I
got in the
agree
first one.
100%. Hey everybody, Ramiro and Will here. Thank you for watching that short clip. Just so you know, that was a small excerpt from what we covered this last Sunday, right, Will?
Yeah, we cover the entire event every weekend. So this was just a cutout from the live stream that we did. The link to that live stream is in the description. So if you want to hear about the other fights that night, it's down below in the description. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell because we go live every Sunday to cover events. And if you do that, you'll know for next week and you can tune in and be in the chat and get featured on the show just like everybody else was on this clip.
We hope to chat with you live.